Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Ring. For those of you who do know me, I'm the other Mike from Windsor. How many people have ever been out actually spotting with SkyWarn? Anybody been out before? Oh, good, cool, excellent. I retired back in 2010 and moved out to Colorado, not to actually do this, but to be with my kids. And what I was doing at the time was, you know, we get a new house and we do some stuff around it and get it all together. And previously we had both worked forever. But when we came out here, we both retired. And so after a while, my wife says, you need to find something to do. So I got into some stuff and was with the Red Cross for about 5 years and actually got down to Alabama in 2011 to help with the cleanup down there. It started out, we were with a group that went up north and we're staying in a hotel, and that's not too bad. But the guy working the desk says, yeah, my dad got hit, his farm got hit by the tornado. Because it was north and south and all over the place. So anyhow, I said, well, was it too bad? He says, yeah, we got a couple of chicken houses where we had, I don't know, 50,000 in this one and 20,000 in that one, and had to pluck cows out of the trees with a backhoe. I said, oh, so that was pretty severe. He says, yeah. So then I got down to Tuscaloosa, and it was just like you see on TV. I mean, there was matchsticks all over the place. And we're sitting there helping out, giving out snacks and goodies and things like that, and a woman comes up and she says, oh, thank you very much. I said, well, are you from around here? Because we're trying to engage them. And I said, sure, I live right down the road there. I said, where? She says, right there, matchsticks. So some of the things you can get into with this is amazing. And I think for the most part, you know, we try and do this because we like to do it to help other people. That's why we're doing it. You know, I mean, there are other reasons why we get into it, but at the same time, it's mostly to help people. Somebody stole my thunder, but hey, that's okay, Scott. Well, we're enhancing, we're augmenting, we're adding to the presentation that we had before. So it's enjoyable. You know, we can get out there and help people and save lives. I mean, why not? It is something useful that you can do. Safety. Just as we talked about safety before, we're talking about it again. There is nothing that you can do while out spotting that is worth your life. Nothing. What are you out there for? Yeah, it's enjoyable, but that's not your primary reason. It's to help other people, to give them notice. We're not going to chase it, and we're not going to earn money from it. We're doing it to help people. So with SkyWarn, we have certain frequencies that we're operating on, and we're in this group here, Region 3, District 2. And we're going to pass information up to our net control station. Sometimes we'll receive information from the net control station. And they, in turn, will pass it up the line. Generally, we won't be talking directly to the National Weather Service. We'll go through the net control stations, and they'll pass it on up. Sometimes, but not often, you'll get contacted directly. And like we're talking about before, we're talking about Larimer and Weld County. That's the areas that we're in. And from the information that Scott showed you before, it happens around here. And it happens pretty frequently. Here's the number one. Number 3 is Adams County. So that's, you know, right down by the airport. So it's a pretty active area. Granted, they aren't that big, but they are around. So there are ways to find out besides going to the National Weather Service's bulletins, although they are outstanding. You can sign up for this. So if you're going to write something down, this is what you want to write down. This is a good place to go to get your information, and it'll send it directly to you. Okay, when are we going to do nets? We're going to go out on active nets when we're told to go out on active nets. We don't go out on spotting just for willy-nilly. There's a couple reasons for that. Safety being number one. Number two is you're going to be wasting your time unless you need it out there. I mean, you can go out and look around. But when there's an active net declared, you're going to be out there doing something at that point. Otherwise, you may not get there in time, and you call it a standby thing. Okay, so you find out spiders are activated or will be activated, you're activated. So you say, okay, I'm ready. So you're going to check in with the net control station as you're leaving for the field. Please don't check in at home. So we're going to be using frequencies that are tied together. I did check with James today, and he reinforced that this one on Buckhorn Mountain just got an amplifier, and now it's up to 75 watts, and I believe this one was at 100. So at elevation with the frequencies that we have, pretty good coverage. ARES, I have a little app on my phone. And I can turn on ARES, and it broadcasts where I am. So if you look on the website, it'll show where I am. So if you have something similar, it'll show you where you are. One of the key components when you're spotting is where are you? If you're going to call in something that you see, and you say, I see a funnel cloud or tornado, cows flying through the air, and it's north of me, 2 miles, where's you? North of me. You got to know where you are. It's really, 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 really important to know where you are so that you can say it's that way. I'm at the intersection of, I don't know, I-25 and Colorado 14, looking east, approximately 3 miles, that added out. So you have where you are, where you're looking. So it's critical. So when you check in, you're going to give you a call sign, hopefully some other information. But when you check out or leave, please check out also. Besides being good manners, it's important to know if you got 3 people out or 10 people out and 9 people have checked back in that they're going home and you haven't heard from the other person, start to get a little nervous and say, hey, where are you? And you don't get an answer. And you go, oh dear. Anybody swing by this last location and check and see if we can find anybody? So it's critical to be able to check back out of the net. We're not going to interpret the radar for many different reasons. One, anything you generally get is going to be delayed by, what, 6 minutes or so? So the National Weather Service has a little bit better setup than we do, so we're not going to interpret them. So what happens if you happen to see something? What are we going to report when we're out there? Gust of 50 or 58 miles an hour. There you go. Okay. That's a way of doing it. It's not the best way, but that's a way of doing it. You can do it with anemometers. The Kestrel is here. Somehow it got shifted over. That's a way of doing it also. The velocity of a cow, full bone, black and white, never mind. Some of the other things that we're talking about, if it's presenting a hazard to the public, that's one of the key indicators when we should report it. One of the other times I got to go with the Red Cross to North Dakota. They have annual flooding on the Red River, which actually flows north. And so we're there, and I took a video of this one place, and we're supposed to be over here. But to get to there, we were driving down this road, and you came up to this patch of water that went from here all the way around to there. I said, I'm not going down there. So you ran into situations where it was a water-covered road. My rule of thumb was if I could see the line on the road, I was okay. Because generally, it takes only like an inch or two and you can't see the lines on it. But anyhow, standing water, please don't drive through it. You just don't know how dippy the road is, or if the water's been flowing through there and taking out the drainage pipe on the road underneath, on top of it. So just don't. It's not a good practice, please. While it's important to convey the information that you want to say, we're always going to begin with where we are, what direction I'm looking, what are we seeing. Generally, for the most part, you will overestimate the wind speed and underestimate the distance. But sometimes we're really, really fortunate around here. Back east, you couldn't see squat. There's buildings, there's hills, there's trees. Some of the things I do now is when I drive over I-25, I look to the west to see where the smoke is because fires happen. And the other thing is I spot different water towers and try and figure out how far away is that water tank from me. So I'm practicing some of the estimating skills that I have. Just another thing you can do. What are you going to see? Wall clouds? Are they persisting? Are there the barber pole type thing? Is there hail? You know, how deep is it? How big is it? Sometimes you'll come upon something that's happened later. Well, go ahead and report that, even if it's on the ground. It's not happening right now, but it's on the ground. It's affecting things. Turn around, don't drown. Be specific as possible. I'm in the car, and I see a wall cloud to my north, approximately 0.3 of a mile, and there's nothing lowering out of it at this point in time. Where are you? Okay. I'm at the intersection of. Not that hams get on the radio and like to talk. But when we're talking about a directed net, which this is, you are part of a group. You're not, just having a rag chew or something like that. You call in to get acknowledged with your suffix, LCK. LCK, go ahead. Or it might be something else that's going on. Say LCK, stand by. You don't just, is there any exceptions to that? You're watching the tornado approach none. Break, 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 break. Well, you got to get some stuff in there. But anyhow, concise is the thing. So here you are. I'm approximately 3 to 5 miles from this wall cloud that's lowering with precipitation off to some direction from some point. If you called this in, you got to know where you are. I can see in the mirror I'm coming down this road here, and it made a turn, so I made a turn, so I don't know if I'm looking north.
Yeah, we hold up on that one real quick. On the slide before, it had that little statement in there about 10 miles north of Nunn. Well, I happened to take this picture 10 miles north of Nunn.
This? What?
Yeah, right there
what?
Where it says approximately 5 miles away, my collision 10 miles north of Nunn.
Yeah.
So I'll go to the next slide.
Okay.
I took this thing a couple of years ago, just north of Nunn, about 10 miles.
Okay, well that's somewhat helpful. North of Nunn, how many miles? How many miles? 2 miles? 5 miles? 1 mile? Give them a hint. I mean, some estimation's better than none. Anybody want to guess how far that is? A mile? What do you think, Scott?
Anybody want to guess what happened with this storm after this? Make a guess?
I don't know.
He's making me up. This storm, you saw the wall cloud on there. The wall cloud dissipated about 5-10 minutes later, and at about that time I hightailed it home because I knew it was going to be a bang-up job. That's the one that destroyed every roof in Nunn, okay, from the hail. So about, 300-400 houses had to get all re-roofed and businesses, 2-inch hail and stuff like that. So it was pretty rip-roaring.
Cool. Short and to the point. Standard ITU FedEx. Give your report at a reasonable pace, because the guy on the, or gal, at the other end is going to be writing it down, some sort of recordation. Some people use a computer and can do the spreadsheet stuff and the words and get it all in very quickly. Other people are writing it down. And don't forget to finish with your call sign. Ah, that's him. He's got it. He's right here. He's got the information. He's given it to me. Good stuff. Technical information. How are you going to call it in? What are you going to do? Hey. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Mike.
One of the first things that you're going to have to do when you go to report, speak slowly. Please don't get excited. There are operators that, oh my God, I've got a tornado in front of me, and you can't write that down that fast. Report it slow and easy, because I will be doing the liaison from our net to the National Weather Service. Now, when I get reports from you folks in the field, and I get it to the National Weather Service, I will come back on the air and give you the time that they got the message. So it has to be clear so I can get it through to you. Now, what are you going to do about getting the report in? Why? Gosh, what happens with the radio waves? The interesting thing about RF, rule of thumb, anything that can reflect, that conduct electricity, reflects RF. And the other problem is rain disperses your signal strength, so an HT going through a rain curtain from none is not going to get in. Just flat, because it's not strong enough to do so. Well, so what? All you have is an HT. Without rain, you can get into the repeater with no problem. With rain, it's hard to communicate because precipitation reduces the power by scattering it. It makes it horrible to try to get through. Well, all you have is an HT. It's not adequate at all. You need a radio with minimum of 50 watts and a good permanently mounted antenna, preferably permanently mounted. Drill a hole and mount that antenna on there. The vehicle gives you much better operation. Good location, tower site, so you can see the tower, or your antenna can see the repeaters. Rule of thumb, for every 3 decibel gain on the antenna, it effectively doubles your power. But it's a two-way street. It works for both transmit and receive. Here's a good example of what happens. A 1/4 wave antenna radiates in a high donut-shaped propagation picture. You put 3 dB gain on it, it starts to extend it out to the sides a little bit, gives it the effect of more power. So with a 3 dB gain antenna, 50 watts will give you the effectiveness of 100 watts. 6 dB gain gives you the effectiveness of 200 watts, and so on. Now here's a good example. This diamond antenna has got roughly 3 dB gain, and it will give you, like I said, 50 watts would give you approximately 100 watts effective power. Now we go to the next antenna. Here's another diamond antenna, but this is a real good one. At 5 watts, it would give you 15 watts effective on 2 meters. On 440, 5 watts would give you approximately 28 watts effective. And then at the higher powers, you can really get some effective performance. That is what's going to get you from the field site to the repeater so that we, net control and the liaison, can get your reports and get it into the National Weather Service. Now here's how it actually does work. Line of sight is not meant physical line of sight, it's antenna line of sight. You may not be able to see the antenna, but your antenna on the car can see it, so you get direct over to here, for instance. And then there's a little bit of over-the-horizon propagation where it extends it a little bit further. So this gray area is where you can get that over-the-horizon a little bit. But this also shows you what the National Weather Service was saying, that their signals, as you get further away, it goes further and further up and you can't get it anymore. Be prepared. Now this is where Mike takes back over.
How to operate your radio. Anyhow, the other day, well, there's on Thursday nights, if you want to practice a net that's only simplex, Kevin runs that one. And 2 weeks ago on Thursday night, we had some rain. Actually had some rain falling out of the sky, liquid precipitation. And it was amazing, the degradation of the signals from certain areas because of the rain. Some people, you just couldn't hear, and you usually do. And then this past week, we came back up and it was dry and it was great. But we threw in a wrinkle and we said, well, we've done 2 meters. Let's switch over to 77 meters. So Kevin calls that a frequency. Everybody goes crankety, 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 crank on the radio. And you don't hear a couple people for a while and you go, and then they come back on and say, oh, you know, I was trying to set up that repeater function of the TS and Q and the minus and the plus. So either carry the book with you, which I do, because there are some times when you have to do something differently. And so it's important to know how to do it. And that's why this net was convenient, because I got to practice ahead of time so that I didn't have to do it, you know, on the fly. Don't cheap on the antenna. I have already replaced mine, so cheap the first time, better the second time. Having the manual, absolutely. A compass, it can be helpful because you're driving around on these streets and stuff like that, and all of a sudden, which way am I pointed? So it's helpful to know that. A map, map of the map and the map. Remember, we're basically in Larimer and Weld County, so if you have a map, you can look at it ahead of time and say, okay, if I'm going out, I'm going to remember that this is a good road east-west, this is a good road east-west, this is a good road north-south, and we're talking good roads that are paved. Will you go on dry roads that are dirt roads? Sure. What happens if it rains, though? You got to be a little careful and know where the dry paved roads will be, or if they're not dry, at least they're paved. So you can look at the map ahead of time and say, well, if I'm going east on 392 and I hit 85, I can go easy up north, down, south. So having some of that information up here saves you a little bit of time while you're driving around. Full tank of gas. When I first came out to Colorado from the east, I was not aware of distances as much as I thought I was. So one time I said, hey, we haven't been out to the Pawnee Buttes. Let's go drive out there. And I said, sure. So I jump in the car and I'm driving out there and going along, and it's great. She says, you got enough gas? I said, yeah, I got plenty. I got over half a tank. Well, we started driving through the Pawnee grasslands, and things you saw on the map didn't exist outside the window. There's a name on the map, and it's not there. So after a while, I realized my error and said, we got to bail out of here because I'm getting a little concerned about gas. Because, you know, you get out to Grover, I don't think so. So anyhow, now I won't go without a full tank of gas. And there's other things you can take along that are extremely helpful. And you better have your license around in case the examiner chases you down and says, hey, where's your license? Awareness of your situation, communication, escape route, safe zones. Don't stop in the side of the road and not without getting all the way off the road. Please. It's tempting sometimes when you see something to stop. Get off the road, please. Escape routes. Sometimes things will happen that you don't expect to happen because it's weather. As Scott mentioned before, generally the tornadoes will track southeast, northwest, southeast, northwest. And he's talking about up in here was the precipitation and the hail and the stuff like that, southeast, northwest. Down here is where you're looking. Well, if you're up here and you say, oh, I need to get ahead of that, that may not be the best way to go. And if you're already here and you have radar information or know where it's going, you may want to get out of the way. That's where having a knowledge of the roadways, or at least a map to look at to see where you're going or need to go, is extremely important. Sometimes you can use a partner going in the vehicle, which is extremely handy because they can have the map and look at it and be telling you, hey, when we get to county road number, turn left. Okay? Just good ideas. I mean, sometimes you can go out by yourself. Why not? Well, you got this to do, you got driving. You got this to do, you got spotting. You got this to do, you got reporting. You got this to do, you got navigation. It gets a little busy. So it's helpful to have somebody helping you out. We're spotting, we're not chasing now. So we kind of know the area that we're in. Oh, we talked about this. If you're up here, if you're up here and you got to come through here and it's going southeast, northwest, and the things are right there, you're punching the core. It's an expression. I don't know. It's a bad idea. Do me a favor. Add to your list of things that you want to get is a permanent magic marker. Okay? If you're going to be punching the core, please take the time to lift up your pants leg and write on your thigh your name and social security number so when we find you, we'll know who you are. Reasons you don't want to punch the core. Dense. Remember, we're southeast, northwest. We'll just say that for example. Steve's truck. Steve's truck, okay. The Windsor tornado went from here this way. It went the opposite direction, southwest, northeast. I'll give you another one in a minute. Dense. Steve's truck. Well, I mean, you could be parked somewhere, and it could happen. But if you're chasing, now he doesn't have a coin in his hand, but we figure that one out. Okie dokie. Tim Samaras. In 2013, he's an outstanding chaser and meteorologist and experimenter. He put out ahead of the storm these cone-shaped devices, and it would measure things and take pictures and stuff like that. He'd been doing it for years. This is from the El Reno tornado of 2013. They had started out, if it's going southeast, northwest, it was a classic one. Oh, it was classic, yeah. First it started out, then it dropped south, then it went east, then it went northeast. So unless you had accurate information, it was hard to visually come up to this storm and be safe. Anyhow, they came from the north and core punched, came through. This particular tornado, and there are some fantastic YouTube videos on this one. I mean, it got analyzed, it got interpreted. National Geographic did a special on this. Anyhow, this particular tornado is 2.6 miles wide. Inside the tornado were these vortices, whereas it was estimated that the wind speed of the tornado was 150, 200 miles an hour, where the vortices were like 300 miles an hour. So these puppies reached out and grabbed this guy as he was following another storm chaser behind, and got him just, him, his son, and another fellow got killed. In that same tornado, Mike Bettis from Weather Channel was in with a couple of people in this vehicle, same tornado, not too far away, but not that close. Remember that National Geographic special? If you find this, I forget what the name of it is, but look up El Reno tornado and you find a National Geographic special. Anyhow, they got a camera rolling inside the car as they're going down the road. This comes along, the camera gets kicked out of the car, lands upright, and in the distance you see this car going like that. Spectacular stuff. Don't forget, when you write on your leg, make it clear and legible, please. El Reno tornado. That was a humper-dinker. How do you tell? You're too close to the storm? Hey. Here's one. Can't hear your report when you're calling it in because of the hail on your roof. Anybody ever had that? Yeah. You're too close. You're in the wrong spot. Anyhow. Watches and warning from the National Weather Service. Folks, you pay these people and they put out some great stuff. I mean to tell you, this is just one thing where they're putting out the information of what's happening. In this case, nothing was going on. But if you go to their Storm Prediction Center portion of the site, I mean, it's got all kinds of stuff on it, information of how to look for and what you're looking for, and 2-day outlooks, fire, severe weather. It's good stuff. Now, when you're out there and you're calling it in, there's a group of people that rotate through on different days and are in control of this directed net. There are other nets to practice on before you come to this one, because in this one you're actually involved in an event that's health and safety of the people that are out there. You know, there's a big difference between this and the technical net or a club net or something like that. So having a little bit of practice before you get to this is helpful. It really is. Because what you're trying to do at this point is help guide people. Take information, pass it along, but also guide them. Remember we talked about the automatic packet position reporting system thingy. I can monitor that. You can look at the radar and say, hey, you can call back in, where's this storm headed? It's headed north, south, east, west. And they can tell you this. So anyhow, net control operators are like the quarterback on the team, helping out, guiding you to where you're supposed to be, or taking the information and passing it along so that we help out other people's lives. When we're talking about this whole situation, remember we're out there to try and help people's lives. Property, sure. So don't do stupid things, please. You'll get wound up. and it's exciting. And yeah, I want to get as close as I can, but at the same time, you know, Mike Bettis, Tim Samaras, other people, lots of them. You don't want to be like that. And at the same time, you're out there and you're representing not only yourself, but SkyWarn, ARES, you know, ham radio operators. Also, I just happened to think of it. Today there was a news article, little vignette on Channel 9 News about just what we're getting ready to do. It was a different area. I can't remember which counties it was, but it was, what one?
Adams County.
Yeah, it might have been Adams.
Adams, they're the ones that have the airport.
Yeah. So anyhow, so you have many things in your life that you have to do. We appreciate your taking the time out to do this today and that at a later point in time. So it's helpful for your neighbors and, you know, the friends and relatives that you have in the area. So if you're going to try core punching, this I can't remember his name. He did a
Tornado intercept vehicle.
Yeah, and he did he was doing photography of storms. So Eric had some of this stuff at the Bertha tornado, Hereford tornado last year. I didn't put a quarter in my hand when I held those. No, I didn't have a quarter in my hand. That was last year. Greeley, not big ones, but a lot of them. And they can clog up the drains and cause lots of problems. So anyhow, at this point, hopefully you've gotten a supplement to the information that was presented before. We're trying to be safe, we're trying to be accurate, and we're doing it because we like other people besides ourselves. So, thank you very much.
This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. For more information, visit our website, ncarc.net. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.